Hi, and welcome to our class on counseling across the lifespan. Some might call this human growth and development, but it's counseling across the lifespan in the catalog. I wanted to take a few minutes, just like I do in every class the first night, and actually talk about the syllabus rather than just posting the syllabus. Thought it was important to go over what's expected throughout the next semester here. First of all, if this is in the summer or winter, nobody is usually on campus. So the best way to contact me would be through my email. I check that, throughout the day. And if you can't get a hold of me that way, or if it's an emergency, don't call the office or secretary. Call this home phone number. That's my cell phone. Or text me. But email is usually the best way. One thing that I'm going to miss just using D2L is the interaction and the great discussions that I have with students, just talking with people in class, and the exchange of ideas. I was hoping we'd be able to use some Zoom, but there is no time or day listed for summer classes this summer. It may be in the future. So this summer we're not going to use Zoom. We'll just be 100% D2L. It is possible that we will use this online class some fall or spring, but right now it's summer only. So these objectives are KCREP objectives, but I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of the concept of this class. And most of you either are taking theories or have taken counseling theory. A few might be new, and you'll have to take that later. But counseling theories goes over therapeutic theories, whereas this class talks about a separate set of theories which have to do with development, stages of development, or gradual development. It might not be a stage theory. It might be an ongoing developmental theory, a continuous theory. But so these two groups of theories about two aspects of the counseling field. There will also be talking about doing a developmental assessment, which is different than a diagnostic assessment, but it's just as important. So all of these go hand in hand, and they work with the theories in other classes, and it becomes a comprehensive set of tools for counselors. So you can read the objectives, you can read the catalog description. Teaching methodology, I try to use all different kinds of teaching methods. I know people learn in so many different ways. We have two different textbooks. One is a literal textbook, and the other is just a book. But the first one is by Beckett and Taylor, Human Growth and Development, and you can buy the latest edition. You can buy the last edition. Basically, the last 2 or 3 editions would be fine. Research on these theories changes a little bit, but the theory itself, the theories like Erickson, they're not changing that much, just the research about the theories. So you can buy any of those textbooks. If you find an inexpensive used textbook, that's fine. The one thing I would like to say is that the chapter numbers might change depending on what edition of the textbook you have. So if you don't have the latest edition, that's fine. Just look at the subject of the chapter that we're covering and find the chapter that is covering that subject. So even the name of the chapter might change, the number of the chapter, but just look at the topics and you'll be able to find it, even if you just look it up in the indexed. So if we're talking about Erickson, just look Erickson up in the indexed and you'll find the chapter that you should read for that week. That's my only caution. Now, I would like to say that this is not normally a current class that I teach. I taught this class many years ago, but we have had other professors, Dr. Samid and now some newer professors teaching this class. And so I did not want to change the syllabus very much. So we are asking you to buy Mitch Albom's book, The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. But I do want to say that this is not about any religion or spirituality or even the concept of heaven. It's really about the people who impact your life over your lifetime developmental stages and process. So, but we are very open to accommodating you if it's not a book you want to read because of some belief system. That's fine. We can substitute another book. So don't worry about that. Just let me know. You'll certainly never be judged on any belief system. So I just wanted to throw that in there. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about the assignment for that book. Most students in the evaluations did enjoy that assignment. So if you look at it from solely a developmental perspective, you don't even have to talk about any religion or non-religious belief system. Okay, so the basic assessment is we're going to have a discussion post each week to the first week. The first week you're going to have an introduction, introduce yourself to the class, and the regular discussion post about the material we cover this week. So they're 10 points each, 100 points. Personal exploration activity, 50 points, developmental case study, 50 points, and a final exam for 100 points. And you can miss 10% of all the points and still get an A. You can miss 20% and still get a B. If you are in the counseling department, the either school or clinical mental health counseling programs, you cannot get lower than a B, or you'll have to retake the course. But that should not be a problem. My goal is for you to be successful. But if there are people from other departments or even an undergrad taking this course, and you get a C, you can miss up to 30% of the points. So, let's look at some of the expectations here. Readings and, even though we're not meeting face-to-face, it's expected that you read everything in the textbook. Years ago, we chose an earlier edition of this textbook because of its readability and its price, and we think it is a very easy read for a textbook. Also, please read any journal articles or other posts that we make as well. Even though it's not face-to-face, try to get everything in on time, like your discussion posts, and have everything completed. Hopefully other students will be interacting with you as well. So let's talk briefly about the personal exploration activity. And I'll just read this and make some comments. So many of us have had the experience of reading a book, viewing a film, or sharing a conversation that has changed our perspective of ourselves and others in a profound manner. This activity sets the stage for such an event. Please note that this assignment is not religious in nature, and any belief system you maintain, including atheism or agnosticism, will not be judged in any way. This book is simply content to respond to, based on human growth and the impact of other individuals on your lives. You do not need to respond to the concept of heaven if you don't wish. So, of course, students will read the book, The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, by Album, and following the reading, students will construct a paper that responds to the following question: who might I meet in heaven? What would we discuss? And how might that discussion change me? Now, you don't have to talk about heaven. Who might you meet after your death? That's just this concept. Please write from a human growth and developmental perspective. So you're looking at kind of your human growth, your personal development throughout your life. The paper should be 3 to 6 pages content. In addition to the title page, use double spacing, 12 pitch, 1-inch margins. No citations are necessary. And once again, we have this clarification. Understand that individuals have many different belief systems. Not all believe in the concept of heaven. Please keep in mind that this is an exercise about human development, priorities, and existential concepts. It's not about religion. However, if anyone is uncomfortable with the title of the book, we can substitute another book for the assignment. We'll always respect your personal values and beliefs. So I will show you when we get to the timeline of this course when that is due, but it's really introspection. What people have impacted your life? Positively, negatively? Did you grow from even the negative experience? So, and I think this might provide some introspection into your human growth and development. Then we have a developmental case study. Summative activity for this course is the construction of a developmental case study, DCS. A developmental case study differs from a typical case study in that it is focused on examining a client's level of functioning and development. This is different than a DSM assessment or case study, and we'll talk about how to do this in our lectures. So it includes these following things. And then we talk about this. So think about, early on, think about who you could talk to. I would not talk to somebody I already know. We want this to be somebody new. It could be somebody you work with, somebody you go to school with, a friend of the family that you've never really talked to, friend of the parent, friend of sibling, something like that, friend of a significant other. But I would encourage you to talk to somebody who is different from you in some way. So maybe from a different culture, maybe from a different age group, maybe somebody much older than you, maybe somebody with a different sexual orientation than you. there are maybe somebody from a different belief system or a different country. All of these things, maybe somebody with a disability. There's any kind of diversity that is different than your own, I encourage. It could be anything. But find out. Find out about different cultures and diversity. And, this is an opportunity. So think about who you might talk to and ask them if you can interview them. And it might take more than one interview. Excuse me. So, a pre-interview questionnaire that will ascertain childhood developmental milestones and noted impediments to achieving milestones used to shape the initial stages of developmental history. So we're going to develop this questionnaire and share it in a discussion post, and you'll get to see everybody else's questionnaire as well. And I want you to have the best questionnaire possible, so you can share questions. You can draw from other people's ideas, and you can give other people your ideas. I want you to have a comprehensive questionnaire, and we'll talk about what goes into this questionnaire as well. The next part is an interview that develops themes identified from a pre-interview questionnaire and other resources. And you don't only have to ask questions, read from a list. Create a dialogue, have a conversation. One question might lead you in a totally different direction, and you can have a long discussion about it. The questions keep you on track, give you ideas, help you to cover all the topics in this type of assessment, but you don't have to stick with them. You can see where the dialogue goes as long as you're respectful. And then a comprehensive written developmental history that evaluates the client's development against standard models of development, models that we learn in the class. And, we want you to write it in a professional manner, using terminology that we learn from the textbook or the class lectures. An overall summary of the client's current level of functioning that includes a discussion of the interactions between the various models of development utilized. So you'll develop your own case study by conducting interviews with this so-called client, not a professional client, throughout the semester, using the open-ended questions generated via the reading assignments and classroom activities. Students will conduct interviews with their clients to gain a greater understanding of the individual's development, how the themes discussed in class play out in real life, and impact on the individual's development. Data gained in the interviews will also enable the students to make a developmental assessment, gain a clearer understanding of the client. Efforts should be made to avoid dual relationships in this assignment. This assignment is to be 6 to 8 pages, 8 pages including title and reference pages. APA 12-pitch font, using logical headings and subheadings. Please cite and reference a minimum of 4 professional references from published journals or books when applying theory. So when you're doing this evaluation and applying some of the developmental theories, look them up in some professional journals from the library. Clients should only be identified by their first name and should be kept anonymous. All right, and we can talk about this more, and we'll go over it more later in the semester. Of course, please do not plagiarize or cheat. Be respectful of one another. If somebody shares a personal story, please don't criticize them. Be respectful and maintain confidentiality. All right. Right now, do not buy live text. We're Not sure what program we're going to be using, but we'll let you know this fall. And write one paragraph, a reflection on what you've taken from this course. This is not a course evaluation. It's about what you have learned, what you can take with you as a therapist, as a counselor. And even the worst class you can learn something from. So what can you take with you? And you'll upload your final paper as well when we let you know what the program is that we'll be using. If you have any kind of disability, please go to the office or contact the Office of OSD, Office for Students with Disabilities. I will be more than happy to accommodate you in any way you need. Let's see. This is just an addendum with a lot of contact numbers in case you need them. This is our conceptual framework. And then this is our course schedule for 10 weeks. And as you can see, we're reading Chapter 1. And there is a video with instructions for your discussion posts. And, we don't want them to be too brief. We want you to go into detail. I've posted films, and I will post journal articles and readings and maybe exercises. So lots of opportunity. And so we don't want just a brief paragraph. We want you to go into some depth here. Refer to what you've read and thought. I want to hear your reaction to what you've read and watched as well. So let's see. I just want to point out some things. So Class 5, Project 1 is due. That's with the Mitch Albom book. Class 6, you should have questions for the case study that you're going to ask in the interview. Project 2, which is the case study and the evaluation, is due Class 9. And you will have a final exam on Class 10. That'll be a multiple choice exam. And it will be online. All right, that is our syllabus. If you have any questions, please email me. And I hope you enjoy this semester.